Hey guys, how is it going? And welcome back to another session on Lousy Gamer. And I'm really excited because this is our first ever interview that we are publishing on Lousy Gamer. So there's a reason to be excited. So over the past few weeks, you would have noticed that we have released videos on attack and defense reports, and that's when the idea came about, like, why don't we talk to the players and then understand their strategy and tips and tricks, and also about their alliance and how they got into the game, etc. So that information would be useful for the newer players and also for existing players like us. It would be a good insight into a player and the alliance. So I thought that would be a good idea, and then we started the series, and we'll be interviewing a lot more people in the next coming weeks. So first of the series, we've interviewed Looney Toon from Region 30, and he heads the Road Warriors Alliance. He's one of the finest fighters. We have seen his attack and defense reports in the past videos in Lousy Gamer, and those reports speaks for itself. So and he's also playing this game for a pretty long time, and thought he would be the good candidate for us to start the interview series, and then to share the knowledge to all the people who are watching the Empire Z videos. And this interview was conducted over a phone, so I tried my best to edit the audio to give you a best audio quality. In case if the audio quality isn't good, please excuse me. I'll try to get this better next time, and I hope you will enjoy this interview. Hey, thanks for making time for this interview. So I would just like to kind of start with your game in Empire Z. So just want to know, how long have you been playing Empire Z for?
Well, first off, it's a pleasure doing this. I'm honored, and yeah, I started playing about 3 years ago, so it's been a long journey. And my official purpose of this game was to be a farm for a buddy. Was not even to play the game so competitively as I play now. So it's been a long journey from that, and it's an irony of life that an RW member was the one who zeroed me.
Wow.
And because of that person, I played the game and got into it, just so I could zero that person.
Okay. So
And he was an RW lieutenant by the name Beal Dallas.
okay.
And that was from the original RW.
Oh, that's cool. So 3 years is definitely a long time. So did you kind of play in different regions? I mean, you said you started with farms. Was there farms in many regions, or you started in the region where RW was in the first place?
I started in what I believe was R7 back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, I had just started right after the big Doom war between RW, Doom, and Sarf was helping them too. I had just joined right after that war ended, and I just played in that region. My buddy, my co-worker,
Mm-hmm.
he started the game way before me, and he wanted to get me involved. So I finally gave in and just, basically told him, look, I'll be a farm and I'll check out the game here and there, see if I get into it. And
Wow. Okay.
ended up being from a farm to an actual main pretty quickly. you
Yeah,
know.
definitely a crazy main right now. So I've been looking at all your attack reports and defense reports. It's the killer. So what's your take on the new regions from Ember? Do you still enjoy the game as you used to last time, or do you see any difference?
I definitely think a region port and kind of bringing all the groups together and basically forcing everybody to stay within 3 regions, so the people that get zeroed can teleport, the ones that don't like to bubble, the people that like to be pests and just hit farms, they could do the same. It's part of the game. Everything's part of the game. To me, all those are a different game style. So is all part of it. Some people have farms and they just farm. Others are fighters and they just like porting to different regions and causing mayhem. So it's all part of the game, and this allows people to play their game, the way they want to, other than how it was before, where you were stuck with the same people, and it was basically bubble or be zeroed. So it kind of, I think it brought the game back to life again.
And coming back to the RW, so I mean, I didn't know until you told me that you got hit by an RW, and then you started playing this, taking this seriously, and then you are here where you are. So, can you give me some history about the RW, like team's history? How did it form? Even probably from the time you took over, or from the time you joined them, and important people who came and gone, stuff like that.
It's a long history, but and I could tell you from my experience, from when I started, so and so on and so forth. So I basically joined RW3 because my buddy, which was my co-worker, he was in RW Bravo, RWB.
Oh,
so
okay.
the second division to the RW main.
Oh, yeah.
So I was in RW3. I think that lasted 24 hours. So I got a notice from an RW lieutenant that, which will be now like an RW major, that they were shutting down the branch. So I was basically in RW for 24 hours. Then I got, kicked. and I was basically on my own for a while.
Yep.
I played with a few co-workers. I didn't go by the name Looney back then either. So we just played, and we kind of did a little race amongst ourselves to see whoever got to an X amount of power would take over the name Looney, I guess. So I was the crazy one in the pack. And I got a chance to go to RWB because of the buddy. He kind of vouched for me.
Yep.
And a couple months after that, Stark did a big merger, and they kind of became a solid powerhouse. So RW consolidated into a major branch, still using RWB as a subdivision, more like a boot camp.
Yep.
So they took the 50 best from RWB and put them into RW main, and they took the bottom 50 of RW main and put them to RWB. I think I made the cut like number 47 around there. I barely made it. I wasn't even really about it. They just chose me and said, "Hey, you're going to RW main." Okay.
Yep.
So I ended up there, stuck to my own devices, really. Yeah, it's ironic me ending up in the position I'm in and dealing with so many people when I'm not really, fond of talking to a lot of people. From there was battles and battles and battles and wars, and just made a name for myself, really.
Yep.
I played with a lot of old school players. Most of them don't play anymore. Then a couple months into that, my wife, spoiled, she was caught in a few events, spawning number one and a lot of events. Yep. And they kind of recruited her because she was growing at a very drastic rate. Like, she was growing pretty fast. Yeah, she was the first one to hit 300 mil in the server, so she was definitely a good catch. And we went through there, and it was basically a little race between Surf and RW for the number one spot, but we were allied, so there wasn't really any challenge in that region. We had another alliance called Nuclear Demons that we ended up fighting later on. they kind of turned on us, and that was basically most of the R7 my R7 time.
Yeah. And RW was only in R7, right? So they weren't like in many other regions. I mean,
That I know of, yes, because I wasn't close to the leaders until later on.
Yep.
When I got asked, just because of my knowledge and fighting, people would ask me, dude, how do you do this? How do you do that? We kind of like talked, good buddies with Angry Russian.
Yeah.
Jonesy, Pogue, that he's still currently plays. So, many good players. Jonesy was the general of RW when I was there. He's the one that passed the torch to me. But not to jump too forward into the future, but we soon after that we merged with R5, which became R18.
Yep.
And that was another big nasty war.
Yeah.
It was just a big nasty war. Credit to both sides. I think they both have phenomenal fighters. So, of course, me being from R7, I gotta represent my side and my guys. But they had great guys who are still playing to this day and are in my team right now.
Yep.
So from R5. So shout outs to them. Everton. So many great people. You have Bedar, Kaz, Dread, and you have D-Flight, Doc, which he retired from the game. So, but all those are ride or dies, I call them. They've never left my side, and I owe them, a lot of gratitude for that.
Most of them have left the game or still playing out of all the names that you have mentioned, or people still playing?
Out of all the names I mentioned, only Dr. Awesome, which he goes by Doc. He's the only one that quit right now. The other one that quit is Angry Russian. He quit, but he was with me in R7.
Yep.
The rest are still playing. They're still strong. We've kept a tight relationship, but those names I mentioned were, R5 strictly. If we're talking about R7, the list goes on and on. You got Tommy Guns. You got Hound. You got Pogue. You got so many players. My other half spoiled. And you see my big account, but she has like 3 mains, all max.
Yeah.
I know we're jumping back and forth, but going back a little to the history of RW, after that merger, I was a lieutenant in RW main during the war. Then the famous glitch happened where everybody got free power in New York, and then Emperor took it back. Some people kept it, some people didn't.
Yep.
And shortly after that, Jonesy the General got zeroed, and that was kind of a heartbreaking scenario where the alliance that I saw as RW, and you would say grew up and didn't back him. So he kind of felt heartbroken from that and couldn't recover and quit. And he basically just promoted me and left me there as general. I would go, okay, that's I wasn't expecting that at all. I was his advisor, his like war chief advisor. So I was the numbers guy behind the scenes. I'm the one that was always sending out the numbers and giving the ideas, but I let him do the talking. I was just the little advisor on the side.
Yep.
So percentages, trying to keep everybody to date and stuff. Once I became general, it was a little turmoil, unhappy, little unrest. So I lost a few members. Shortly after that, kind of had RW turn on me and kind of vote me out. So I gave RW what they wanted, and I basically left the alliance in hands of somebody else. He goes by the name DV Trex. So and left them in charge. And I went to a friendly alliance called Night's Watch. They're in Region 31, if I'm not mistaken right now. A bunch of great people. At the time, the general was Jon Snow. He was ex-RW. Great fighter.
Yep.
The boxers, the Mr. and Mrs. Boxers, Native Warrior, all great people. I actually met them in real life, and we've gone out to dinners and great people. So we were there for a minute. Shortly after that, then I got called back home. The general quit and left a buddy of mine in charge.
Yep.
His name is Mo, crazy guy, but good buddy. And he appointed me general again, and we kind of had to restructure RW all over again, and kind of bring it back to its prime. And it was hard. It wasn't easy. And even then, we ran into some trouble. We had some people who left RW again and kind of took and split RW in half, kind of crippling us. In the midst of all that, some of those people brainwashed Sarf, and Sarf ended up basically turning on me. I wouldn't say RW, on me. They tried nuking me, and that was basically the end of that. It was, all-out war between RW and Sarf. The brotherhood that was supposedly never gonna break, but it had a chink in its armor, and the parasite, exposed that and brainwashed the whole alliance to turn on me, basically. So we went into a war. RW came up victorious, thanks to the help of FS, Forsaken, Everhard, Hound, which you've seen his hits now, Titan, Chronic, Company, all great guys. They poured it in without blinking an eye, and they helped out, the same people I mentioned, Dr. Awesome. So many people jumped into the battle, and D-Flight, Cass, my better half, everybody jumped in, and they did their part, and we were victorious in that battle, that war. So after that, I took in a few Sarf that really had nothing to do. Obviously, every single Sarf that hit me got their payback. I did keep screenshots of all of them, so I knew who was who. But it was all in good nature. It's the game, it's nature of the game.
Yep.
That was that. Later came an alliance that changed into a bunch of names. It went from E to ZH to so many different little names, and we basically had the longest war with them. It was a 3-year-old war.
Wow.
I mean, 2-year war. Sorry, 2-year war, which ended up me being zeroed after a very long time, and my better half got zeroed, and basically RW came close to extinction at that point. Now I have to say.
Wow.
Yeah, we dropped a lot of members. I stayed with who I consider now my 30-30 still. 30 members and 60 farms in RW. That's all I had left, were 30 members and 60 farms in RW. And we rose from the ashes because of those people that are still playing with me. I went ahead. I swallowed my pride, and I went into a bubble and rebuilt for 2 months and just built up Vance, and that's where the famous Piercer count started. And from there, everything else is history. It just came back and gave it right back to them, and it was a long, hard-fought war. Again, phenomenal fighters from both sides. Some ended up joining afterwards. But it was a hard-fought war that RW came out victorious again. And we end up to where we are now, really, which is, the 3 regions. And that war finished probably 3 months before these new region ports came up.
Okay, you've been kept
it
busy
was a
from
very
the
long
day
war.
one you started playing, so kept busy until now.
Yeah. It's never been a dull
Talking
moment.
about people, so name one player who you think kick ass in this game.
It's hard to say because a lot of them, like I said, I've built RW to where we're as strong as our weakest link.
Yep.
So I share certain information with RW that is a house recipe. Only we do. That's how we do it, and that's why we have very good fighters that hit hard. And you say one person, it's hard because there's so many great players. There's so many great players that I couldn't tell you just one person. If I could keep it honest with you, I couldn't say just one person. Not to take more of your time with this question, but give you an idea. When I was zeroed and bubbled, I had Dr. Awesome and Rip take on a whole alliance by themselves.
Wow.
So them two are, to me, they're phenomenal. They're beyond normal. They're just what I call my sleeping giants. Those are the ones that they have 10K 3 days, and they have 3,000 1 days in advance. They're just sleeping giants. When they wake up, you just run.
Exactly. Yeah.
And like I said, they really don't care. But aside from them, then coming into now, I have phenomenal fighters. I got Hound, I got Poke, I got Tommy.
Yep.
And them 3 alone, there was a little skirmish that happened that they basically chopped 5 bill power off an alliance in less than 5 hours between the 3 of them.
Wow.
So, when you tell me the best kick-ass player, I hold them all on a very special, ladder, all by themselves. Like they're in a mountain all by themselves.
Agreed. Yeah.
I got so many great fighters. So many good. You got D-Flight. You got so many good ones. You got Everton. Everton is another sleeping giant. He could literally just wake up and go and lose 3 bill power and gain it back the next month. Yulo is my crazy German, along with Vidar. I call him my crazy German. I've seen Vidar zero himself from 7 bill power and come back in 2 months and back to 5.
Wow.
Yulo is another one. He's a phenomenal fighter. And all these are big fighters, but then again, I have a little fighter who a lot of people don't know, but his name is Mo. He's from Kuwait, and I tell people he's the only person I know that spends $2,000 in a game, builds any troops he wants.
Wow.
Zeros himself, and then repeats it all over again.
That's crazy.
So and he doesn't pass 1.1 bill. That's like his threshold. And the guy's just crazy. He'll drop out of the alliance and buy his own packs, and he doesn't hit IC. He just buys his own packs.
Wow.
And that's him. That's Mo. And he's no big fighter. Not big fighter. Sorry, he's no big player. By any means, but he will send every single troop he has left. If he could send his hero to die, he'll send his hero. So, when you tell me great fighters, or and recently I've met other good ones too. I met Beast, I've met Coyote, White Snake, Ook. Ook was with me for a minute until he went back to Elite. And Ook is another phenomenal fighter. Zeroed himself, came back, and Kimiko.
Yep.
Kimiko, she's kick-ass. She goes, drops 20 million panzers, comes back, she rebuilds them. So,
wow.
When you tell me great fighters, all these names I've mentioned fall under that category as kick-ass.
Yeah, that's
proven themselves, and regardless of what any haters may say, they've proven themselves. You know, and I'm not gonna, even go deeper because then they're gonna say, of course, you're vouching for your wife, but even my wife, she's kick-ass. She doesn't care. She will hit you with everything, so jump on her second ult, which is as strong as her main ult, and hit you with that too. I place all those players. I place them over me because of their loyalty. I'm just there as, I guess, the vessel that's guiding them. But they're all phenomenal fighters, and I hold them with great esteem.
So when this region merge started, again, the two big names came up, and everybody wanted to kind of decide, that's a decision moment. Do I go into RW or SLC or in the third front, which I don't think anybody has established as a real third front except for these two big names. I'm just wondering, after a few months, after the merge, what's your stance on SLC? Like, still on war? Do you think who has the upper hand? With what's going on, from your opinion? I mean, I'm going to get some opinion from all other camps as well, but I would just like to hear from you. Yep.
I obviously think we have the upper hand, but they're formidable opponents.
Yeah.
They have their tactics, which are new to me in one way, and I'm sure ours are new to theirs, and in another way. And they have good fighters too as well. I'm not gonna say they don't, but I think where we stand right now, I think they still have a fight in them, and we're still gonna bring it to them. However it comes, when it happens, I think there's still a healthy war to be settled there. We're looking at it happen.
Yeah.
The numbers don't lie.
Yep.
At the end of the day, what's going to determine whether whatever haters want to say is who's standing.
Yep.
That's what determines the winner at the end of the day, regardless of who says what numbers, what screenshots. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what anybody says. It's who's standing, and who's on top of the hill.
Yep.
That will determine and speak for itself.
That makes sense.
Like I said, I've never been that much of a people's person to talk a lot, but I let actions speak for themselves. To be honest,
Yeah.
I let the actions do the talking, and my words fought in many battles. So it's always easy for someone to say, oh, but I zeroed, so and so, and for them to say, oh, I zeroed so and so. They could go back and forth all day. At the end of it is the end result that counts. Who's standing on top of Mount Everest at the end of the day.
Yeah. And in this war, in this battle, actually after the merge, I just wanted to kind of ask about the allies that you have in R30. So, how you guys working as a team? Is that something that you enjoy doing it, or just wanted to kind of hear from you about your allies as well, non-RW members who joined in the war against SLC?
Well, UN started as a coalition between several groups to stand up against the tyranny of the number one alliance in R18. They wanted to dominate all the ICs, and the region.
Yep.
And them being as big as they were, they thought that they could, And I like to think of RW as Spartans. We do not kneel to anybody. So,
yep.
And we kind of allied with everybody who was against them and opposed them, and we were fed up with their way of dealing and treating people. So we took it to them. We zeroed a lot of their players, and that was the birth of UN. We stuck up for each other, and to this day, I stick up for any of them. BZK, NLC, Elite, Devil's Rejects, LOD, which is my other branch. We're all UN at the end of the day to the core. We all came from R18. We made the pact that we will stick together regardless of any outcome. And they know I stayed true to my word, and I know they stayed true to theirs. Phenomenal generals, Buzzkill. You got Kimiko. You got Elite with Ook, Tiger. You got so many great generals. You got J-Rock and LOD. You got Alice and NOC. So many great generals that I pretty much have more than my trust on them. I could say trust fall, and I know they're there for me. So yeah, that's UN. As far as the bigger part of the coalition goes, going into the war was basically section messing with RW branch and R21. And I tried to resolve it behind closed doors, but they weren't having it. And Smock came later, and he wanted to strong arm me to let it go. But I told him that coming from the motherland, I wasn't gonna let it go, and I needed my pound of flesh.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. I wasn't gonna be strong armed by anybody, especially a leader who stays in a bubble. So, I have been zeroed, and I have rebuilt, so it's no biggie,
Yep.
It is no biggie, and that's where I stand as far as with
Keeping aside the political and diplomatic topics aside, I just want to get a little deeper into your understanding of the game and see how I can extract something from you to make other viewers, they can get something out of this. So I have a set of few questions about mix of the game itself and also some of the people questions. So I'll start with the game. So what's your favorite troop type, and then why do you favorite them? Like, why do you like them? Yeah.
My favorite troop type, even though I know it doesn't reflect on my city count, my troop type is the Panzers. I love Panzers. I can never have them because I'm always hitting people, but they're my favorite. They're my favorite troop type.
Yeah.
I always get a high off the damage that they do on enemy cities. It's always the mixing and matching leaders to try to give myself a better edge against the enemy. The city is always that high of using Panzers, so I had to say Panzers. And the reason I have so many piercers is because every advanced push I do, I build equal parts. If I'm building 30 million advanced, I do 15 million Panzers, 15 million piercers. And so that basically gives you a rough estimate of how many Panzers I've built today. So you want to know how many I built? Just look at how many piercers I have. That's the same amount of Panzers I built today.
So you are like, what, 100 millions of P4 advance, and that's crazy. I think that's, I struggle to build even 1 million Panzers and Pierces, and yeah, I always feel, I brag about it, hey, I have 2 million Panzers. Again, it's my statement is that Ember kind of made Panzers too powerful. Maybe they should find a way to get other troop types a bit stronger as well. I feel like that, because when we started building all these troops, we had equal numbers, especially the infantry troops and rangers. We use them only for hitting ICs nowadays, and I think it can be put to a good use, and hope Ember can change that.
They're pretty evened out. Each tier 4 event serves a purpose in this game.
Yep.
They each one serve a purpose. A piercer is what a Panzer is, defending wise.
Yep.
A ranger is what a Panzer is, hitting IC wise.
Yep.
So they all have an edge on the field. I cannot hit IC with Panzers and piercers.
Exactly.
And I cannot hit a city with piercers and rangers. And I cannot defend with Panzers and rangers.
Yep.
So, they all play off each other, and it's having the right amount and knowing, but that's the beauty of the game, and I won't get into certain other details which, will give my edge away. So
you can keep those secrets, yeah. Cool. So the leaders. So favorite leader combo and why?
Okay, that's a tough one because prior to the massive cold storage that Ember allowed us to have, my favorite all-time leader was the Necrotaku.
Yep.
And the reason behind it is because it was a well-balanced leader, both offensively and defensively back in the day.
Yep.
So, not just being well-balanced, it was just a kick-ass leader that didn't come back again until the merger. You know, it didn't come back again till way later, where the Z store was available, and then it came back in certain events. So that leader, you know, holds a, like some people say, a special spot. You know, because it was a kick-ass leader. Like, it was one of those leaders that, you know, you had, and if you had it, you had an edge over everybody else. You know, there's a lot of great leaders out there right now, but everybody has them. So it kind of takes the special, you know, the special factor from that leader. You got me?
Yep.
So, you know, for those reasons, I have to go back to the Necrotaku, because during that time, it was the best not the best offensive, actually. It was, for boomers, it was the best offensive boomer leader. Yet again, it was also one of the best defensive leaders you could get.
Again, I think you did mention the numbers. I would like to make it official now. Can you share with us how many troops you have? I'm pretty sure everybody knows if they scout you, so I don't think it's going to be a secret. So I wanted to kind of publish this number at this moment.
I just did a push for Father's Day, and I have 238 million troops. Out of that, 82 million are tier 4 events. So yeah, that's my troop count.
That's a good enough number. So I think I don't want to hear about the rest. So about 35% of it is T4 advance. And coming back to the game aspects again. So what's your best and worst moment in the game so far? It could be something that you shared about RW, or it could, you know, anything that you think is the best and the worst moment in the game.
Worst moment was being zeroed, and the alliance basically dismantling. You know, after the better half and I were zeroed, like I said earlier, the 30-30 stayed with me.
Yep.
And that's where we bubbled for 2 months. Mad props to, I know he quit, but Angry Russian, he basically cleaned my farms for 2 months, 3 times a day, and stored the resources for both me and my wife. And he grew. You know, I'm not gonna throw numbers of how much I spent, but at the end of the day, we came out of that bubble with 12 million piercers each, and that's back in the day where the packs didn't come with more than like 20 days of advance, if not less than that. So you do the math of how many I had to buy.
The IC hitting was also not giving any advance those days.
No, that was way before. Yeah, that was at the very early stages of advances, really, of advanced troops. And the wife and I, we both came out with 10 million piercers each, and that was the comeback that we have. And I guess the best moment was finally taking down our rival in R18. A few months before this merger, we finally took him down, and that has to be one of the best moments in Easy, as UN went crazy on them. We zeroed I think I lost close to 3.5 billion powers in the first 24 hours of the fight. So we zeroed a few. It was a sweet victory.
Yep. So IC hitting. So to be honest, I haven't heard anything about the other regions, and I think I'm getting more information from R30, but whatever I heard so far, you guys are kind of ace the IC attacks in the region. So even the leaderboard, shows all RW names in there. So I would just like to hear some tips. I don't want you to give away your edge, but at least there are some basic tips for the new players coming in to can benefit from it.
New tips I could give to new players is play smart first of all. IC is a team effort. It's not a single person. So you have to be in an alliance that has the same goal. Hound, or you could be a Tommy that is 14, 15 billion, 10 billion, and you can do it by yourself. You cannot bring an alliance by yourself and hit all the IC by yourself.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen. So first and foremost, you have to be in an alliance that has the drive and tenacity, the discipline of being an IC hitting machine, In RW, I'm sure I could have other IC hitters that might be phenomenal, but I'm loyal to my guys, and they're not just phenomenal IC hitters, but they're phenomenal fighters. And to me, they go hand in hand. So get into an alliance first off that has that drive. And second, go ahead and get a ghost leader.
Yeah.
And then that's about all I'll say.
So we are coming close to the end of this interview. So I would just like to ask you, is there any closing comments that you would like to make before we conclude this interview?
Well, like I said in the beginning, I'm honored. This is pretty cool. I've never done this before. Never talked this long before. So I'm happy to see what everybody thinks about it, and hopefully anybody has any other questions or they ever want another interview, by all means, I'm very approachable.
Yep.
Regardless of what my reputation may say. I am approachable. I always follow you on YouTube. I see your videos. I follow other people like Vernex, Warwanker.
Yep.
But yeah, I follow all you guys, and I get a kick out of your guys' videos and the guys you guys do. You do great things for the game. So I respect that. I kind of get shy sometimes because you put me on the spot with all the reports you show, but then again, I'm kind of looking for it when I post the screenshots on certain chats. So
yeah. Thanks a lot for giving us almost 50 minutes of your time so far, and I wish you all the best for Road Warriors and your allies, and hope we'll do this again probably in a few months' time and see where you guys stand. Yep. Thanks a lot for your time again, and have a fantastic week. Bye.
Thank you.
Hope you enjoyed the interview. So I kind of enjoyed the whole process. So I'll be doing a lot more of these interviews. So if you have any questions to Looney, please drop your comments in the comment section, and I'll get those answered. And also, if you want any of the players to be interviewed, put their names in, and I'll try to get their interviews as well. So and I really hope you enjoyed this, and please leave your comments and like this video, and also subscribe to Lousy Gamer if you have not done so. And you have a fantastic week ahead, and I'll come back with a lot more videos soon. Bye.